love it with some passion. Rubber band and the money that keeps stacking. Got a honey who come with elite fashion. She too fine, I tell her that thing magic. You ain't a hustle, you broke, well that seems tragic. Gotta catch in the field like deep passes. I tell her plug if it's sticky, then please.
What is going on? What is going on, sports fans, NFL fans, Bills fans, Jets fans? The whole crew is in the building tonight. We got the whole crew for the first time this season. I'm amped about it. We got my man Steros for the girls and my man, the OG Antoine Staley. I'm just saying I'm just saying that because he has a real issue with me calling him OG. Listen, you are listening to the Chop Up on the Buffalo Rumblings Vidcast Network presented by Picasso Pizza. Treat yourself to the most favorite pizza on game day. Picasso's. We are Buffalo Pizza, shipping local and nationwide. Order online at picassopizza.net. What's going on, fellas? Man, I've been waiting for this one. We finally all together for it, so I'm amped.
Hey man, I'm happy to be here, bro. I was in Dallas last week, but let me tell you, I got some Japanese A5 Wagyu steak. Game changer, bro.
Oh man, I never had that. So
you wouldn't even got to tell me. I'm ready to travel.
It's so buttery. It's so buttery. Like it just falls apart, dude. It's like it's crazy. Best steak I ever had.
You know what, Joe? One time when I went back to Buffalo, Joe and his wife, like they cooked dinner, and she made. I don't know if it was like the same grade of Wagyu, but it was like, yo. So I mean, if it's what she made or better, like if it's better than what she made, then I really need to go because she needs a restaurant. And Joe would tell you, I'm not lying about it. Like I sent you some pictures of just when you've seen how she cooks. Yeah. So if it's like that or better, yeah, we need to travel. Let's go back to Dallas.
Yeah, we need to because
it's always some good food in that's Texas too,
right? I mean, all they do is eat.
Yeah, down south. Yeah, I know all about the down south. You do too. So yeah.
So so look, let's get into it. There's a couple stories around the league that we can get into before we get into like all the games, and I don't want to brag about baseball or nothing like that because I know that Antoine ain't, you know what I mean, like, so I don't want to get too deep into the baseball talk.
Now we can talk about baseball. I mean, I'm all good. I can talk about anything. So yeah, I mean, I've been paying attention to the Yankees. So
well, no, I was saying it more so because you're a hater. That's all. But let's start off though. Let's talk about this. Well, first, let's start with the roughing the passer. I don't even know if you want to call it like human error thing that's happening with the refs, or if you want to call it. I call it error, but we can call it emphasis. Yeah. Like the way these calls have been going, man. And I'm one of the guys that's like, we protect the quarterback. We got to protect the quarterback. But man, some of these calls, and I'll even admit it was one on Josh when we played against. I think it was the Ravens. We played against the Ravens, and it just shouldn't have been called, but I take it. You know what I mean? I definitely would take it. But one of the most egregious ones that we saw this past week was the Tom Brady. And then I think, and then I think the other one was, that was bad. So let's start there, and then we can follow up with the Kansas City game because that one was also Derek Carr that was ridiculous. So let's start off with that. Let's kind of talk about what you're hearing around the league and from other people. Let's get at it.
Well, I think kind of what you're hearing is just first of all, I think they're trying to overprotect the quarterbacks more so than ever. I think part of that is because of what happened to Tua and the concussion and, things of that nature and the fallout that it came from that. And the league, the NFL, one thing that I have noticed about the NFL in years is that they're very reactive and they care about what people think about their shield and about about just the brand. So of course the Tua thing came out and people thought he shouldn't have been back in the game against Buffalo, and then obviously this thing happened with Cincinnati, and he's still out, and he's not going to play against the Vikings. Who knows when he's going to come back? So I think now you're seeing referees around the league, and probably it's like trickled down saying, you know what, we need to protect these quarterbacks better. And, if they're, you think somebody gets slung down to the ground a certain way, then call it. But I just feel like at a certain point, it's football. People are going to get hurt. It's just the reality of the situations. Like I get if, somebody gets slung down a certain way and, it's violent or, they did it on purpose. But the Grady Jarrett play was just a play. He was just trying to make a play so his team can get the ball back and the Falcons have a chance to win the game late. Same thing. We'll talk about the Chris Jones play, sack and strip fumble, but I just feel like they're just trying to overprotect these guys. But at the end of the day, it's football. People are going to get hurt. If we're going to start going down this road, then I think we need to really assess where we are. And also, if it's, emphasizing it like this, we also need maybe they think about having opportunity to replay, roughing the passer calls, kind of like what they do in targeting in college football.
But that's where I was actually about to go next, because Chris Jones, he spoke so. I mean, to me, he made great points after the game when they asked him about the situation there, and we can kind of talk about that real quick. So, Steros, let me swing that to you, because in the Raiders Kansas City game, Chris Jones had to me, it was a perfect play. I mean, he stripped the ball from him. Basically, it was a turnover, and he braced himself, like he didn't put his full body weight on him. From the angle that the referee had that called it, I could see why he would have thought that he had his full body on him. But to Antoine's point and to Chris Jones's point, maybe we do need to take this thing to the booth and say that these calls are reviewable. How do you feel about that? Because I feel like a lot of people look at reviews and look at all that stuff as like, you know what? It slows the game down and it's bad for the game. How do you feel about it? Because I feel like this is bad for the game.
Yeah, it is bad for the game. And, I feel like maybe if they would, make those calls reviewable in the fourth quarter only, I think that's probably a happy medium that they can go with. Because, I mean, you look at each situation, like if you go with the Falcons, even though that it's a new head coach, like those are make or break kind of moments for a young football team or for guys that are trying to hit their contract incentives and based on performance. It shouldn't happen. And on top of that, when Grady Jarrett's getting up, Tom Brady does to me, a very cowardly thing and try to trip him up. I just think that it's a bad look on the league. And then the whole Chris Jones thing, I mean, it definitely changed the momentum of the game. They came out and they won. They won, but come on, man. Like, he had the ball in his possession and then fell on him. Like, you can't review that. Yeah. It's the NFL will find a way to screw it up, man. I just hope it doesn't take, in a playoff game to where they really screw this up and then a team goes home because of it. You know what I'm saying? So I know nothing will happen during the season, but I just get tired of everything have to go, to arbitration or after in the off season, and the owners got to get together and sort this out. Why can't you just make a rule real quick? So where that it's fair and equitable for all the teams and players.
Yeah, I'll say this too real quick. I feel like they should have been reviewed anyway because that was a possible turnover. Yeah, mm-hmm. So like review it if you feel like he turned, which he did recover the fumble, then change the call. Like I feel like that never should, no matter how you feel about roughing the passer, like it never should have got to that point. I mean, obviously, I just feel like that was just a no-brainer on everybody's part there.
So first, I agree with what both of you are saying. But the thing is, Steros, I know you just mentioned like that time for the Chiefs, it didn't lose them the game. Guess what? For the Ravens, it did. You know what I mean? Yeah. It lost the Ravens the game. And as a Bills fan, obviously, we came out on the quote unquote right side of it, so we feel good about it that day. But it's just bad for football. And to me, it's like it has to get to a point where I feel like referees need to be held accountable to another level. Like, look, if these players got to come out, y'all got mad at Cam Newton a couple years back after the Super Bowl because he ain't want to sit there and talk. Y'all got mad at Marshawn Lynch and I'm just here so I won't get fined. Look, the referees need to come out and they need to have accountability and speak to the media the same way the players do. Hey, what the hell happened on that call on 4th and 1 with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter? What happened here? Can you take us through what you saw or what you felt happened on this play? And I feel like if you hold those referees more accountable, I feel like these things will happen less and less. Because even after the game, like the way they interview, I saw an article where they actually asked the referee, and he's like, well, the quarterback still would be protected as whatever. Like, I forgot the actual explanation, but he was basically saying, even with the fumble, because he was the quarterback and because of the way he was falling, he was protected throughout the entire play. And I just think it's crazy that the explanations they give people when all it's like you can fall back and I can send you a text message and not have to deal with your emotions. Cool. No, put that man in front of the camera, put that man in front of a national audience and have him speak up for exactly what he called.
Yeah, they I was gonna say real quick, they do have pool reporters that talk to some referees, like they talked to Jerome Booger, after the game against the Buccaneers and Falcons. But at that point, it's not in front of the camera. It's not like a normal press conference. It's just kind of like that guy's going behind the scenes talking to him, and I think at certain points, some of those referees feel like, okay, we have to like double down on what happened, even if we don't necessarily agree with it, just because the brotherhood are officiating. You don't want to necessarily call somebody out, but yeah, I think the NBA has done a good job, especially if you notice they have a Twitter account where they kind of talk about something like this, like the missed calls and things like. I think the NFL would be a great service if they did something quite similar as well.
Yeah, I feel like the NFL needs a blog. They got too many.
Yeah. The NBA, I think the NBA kills the NFL when it comes to like being relevant, and current with players and how the flow of the game and stuff like that. I think if we put referees on blast, some of them dudes gonna get murked for the stuff that they do, man. So. But it'd be nice for entertainment. It'd be great for TV. But I just hate those clinical answers. The legalese answers. Like, come on, man. Like, do you really believe that? You know what I'm saying? So it needs to be fixed.
Right, like you don't even believe what you just said, and you're gonna spew that to us. I bet.
Well, that's what I said. Like
that's how I feel when I watch it.
Yeah, the pool reporter. I was just like, it's kind of a bit of a joke because they're not in front of the camera as you said. They just, like I said, I feel like a lot of those guys just kind of double down on what happened, and something needs to change for sure.
All right. Well, I think we're all in agreement there. So there's no real debate. This is bad for the game. They need to fix it. And really, I hope and I know they won't, but they should fix it prior to the offseason. Like at the ownership meetings or the owner meetings or however you call it, that's normally when a lot of these things are brought up and then things are changed or whatever. But I think it's one of those things that the way they're putting emphasis, like Antoine said, the way they're putting emphasis on these calls is going to affect the playoff game. And you're going to have, depending on what game it is, man, it's gonna be crazy. But let's move on. Earlier this week, Snyder, the owner of the Washington Commanders, basically came out and made it, or I don't know if he came out and said it or if it was just reported, if somebody got the news, but that he had a PI, he had an investigator basically go out about half the league and Roger Goodell, and he said, look, I'm not losing my damn team unless I'm going down with a fight, and I got dirt on everybody. I don't even know how I want to ask this question, but let's just get into it. Antoine, how you feel about this, man?
I mean, it's just one of those things like, if I'm going down, everybody else going down with me. And we know we got a lot of owners, we got a lot of dirt out there in the NFL. And I mean, look, Daniel Snyder, the birds are circling. Everybody knows that his time is coming. It's just a matter of time. And he's trying to hold on to this team. He really didn't want to change the name of the Washington team until like PR. Like he did it for a good PR move, just because of everything that was going on behind the scenes. I thought, oh yeah, let's change the name just to kind of, get some heat away from what's really going on in the building. But yeah, I mean, not even talking wins and losses, just because what he's done with the Washington franchise. I mean, that he's ruined that whole franchise just completely been ruined by him. I mean, it's I mean, with all the disrespect, to be honest with you, I grew up in North Carolina. I know how important that franchise was to not only North Carolina. I mean, that was North Carolina's team until the Panthers came. And then there's still a ton of Washington fans there. And then obviously the Virginia, DC, even Maryland area. So, I mean, it's just a damn shame where, we have somebody that, like I say, has been terrible. You look at his record, with the team since he's taken over. And then now you got to factor in some of the sexual harassment and things of that nature they're also dealing with. It's just really a shame. And it really tarnishes a really, great franchise.
Man said, I mean this with all disrespect. Sterles, how do you feel about this, man?
I agree, man. It's almost like the whole Epstein case. It's like when Jazane, we don't know the names, right? And I hope that he actually comes forth with all the information that he has, because I feel like owners been doing guys dirty for a long time. And these are just my personal feelings, but it's almost plantation kind of feeling, now Now I know, players have their roles and owners and coaches, they all have roles, but if you're going to hold the players to such this high standard and they can't do this, and weed was just legalized for them just recently, or why are these owners sitting behind this cloak of righteousness? Like, your stuff stinks too. And so if he can come out and point it all out, it's a coward way to do it. But I mean, at this point, hey, it's good. It's good for entertainment. But yeah, they need to be reprimanded for the shady stuff that they do that we, the public, don't see, because you got to protect the shield.
Yeah, and then the thing is, though, the report went a little bit further and said that he has something on Roger Goodell too. So it's not just the owners. He's coming at the commissioner. He said, look, I'm coming for you too. And I think I don't know. I've been hearing that a lot of people who have left the organization during all of these things that's been going on have said, like, well, no, we feel like Dan is the most powerful owner based on the things that he knows and based on this. I used to always feel like
they're saying that.
A lot of people have said,
"Oh my
a lot of people.
God,
he is.
That's not good. That is not good."
I mean, it's true though. I mean, just think about like the power that you have is within the things that you know. So he feels like, okay, they feel like, okay, he has all this information about everybody that he's not going to lose his team. You have to remember, you have to have like 24 owners vote you out. If it comes to that, they have to decide to have him voted out. And then they have to actually have 24 owners vote him out. So, and in that case, that's probably not going to happen if you have dirt on like half the league.
Yeah, to get 24 votes in that situation, it'll be ugly for a lot of people. I feel like the league would burn, man. And I mean, I don't know. It's just an ugly situation because, like, the thing is, he got in this situation with his organization, and now instead of him just saying, like, you know what, all right, I did it, he's going to take everybody down with him, and it's just wild. It's just wild to me to think about. So, well, let's move on from that because it's really not much of it was one of those stories that came out, nothing major to talk about. Let's get into some of these games, man. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I feel like obviously we're going to get into this Bills-Chiefs game. I think it's the game of the week. I don't know why it's not like, I know it's too, I don't think it was even possible to be flexed, but I don't know why it wasn't in like a Sunday night or Monday night.
I have the answer to that because CBS, certain games you can, protect. That was one of them that they protected. And then CBS, since it was on smart. And then it was on Sunday night last year, if you remember. So they wanted it for the 4:30 slot, essentially.
I mean, they smart. They said we want our coins, and y'all ain't taking it from us. So I can't even be mad at that. But so before we get there, let's start off with it. The Ravens and Giants. I'm excited about this one. Like, I still think the Ravens are better than obviously what their record shows. They lost to us. They they had some tough games there. They lost to Miami, which was crazy. But the Giants have been, I don't think that they're a better team by any means, but I think they're motivated. And Brian Daboll, man, he's out there. He got these boys ready to run through walls and ready to run through anything. And it's just been fun to watch. So let's start with Strohs on this one, man. How do you think this one's going to play out with Lamar Jackson going up against Daniel Jones? Like, that's a matchup, but
man, I got to give Daniel Jones some credit, man. He played really well last week against Green Bay in London. Second half, I mean, I don't know. There's just a calmness about Daniel Jones this year. I don't think he's their quarterback of the future, but I think you can see the Brian Daboll effect. And Saquon Barkley, what they were able to do last week, albeit I don't feel like the Packers are anything to write home about. But for a young team like that who are trying to prove themselves, I think it's huge. Now, I think Lamar Jackson is going to outplay Daniel Jones, but like you mentioned, they are playing inspired football, and there's something to be said for that. So, I don't think the Ravens can come in here and just take them lightly. But I think, these are, when you look at the season in a whole, these are going to be those moments where, it kind of makes or breaks a team. I think, for a young team like the Giants, I think they can really learn a lot, wherever the outcome is. But I think it'll be closer than people think. I'm not going to put my money on the spread, but I like the Giants right now.
Okay. Antoine?
He's changed the culture. I think Daboll has just really changed the culture, especially, coming from Joe Judge. And he has these guys just believing, and there's just a certain confidence there. Like, I have a little bit of knowledge, obviously, with the Giants just because of my proximity and, being at the facility like a time or two, especially when they were practicing against the Jets. But yeah, man, you can definitely see it. Just the players just believe, they're confident, the way that they talk. Daniel Jones, he's worked wonders with him. We saw what Daboll did, and obviously, Ken Dorsey, deserves some credit too with what they were able to do with Josh Allen, while they was there. But man, Daniel Jones was just considered a, bust coming into this year. And, now he's been a very efficient quarterback. And not only that, you got Saquon Barkley looking like the player that I think a lot of people thought he was going to be coming out of Penn State. So, and I really like this team. I think, I don't know if they're a playoff team. I still think the Eagles and Cowboys are better. But if the Giants end up getting 8-9 wins this year, that's a hell of a job by Daboll year one too. So there's a lot of excitement, especially around both New York teams too, but especially with the Giants right now. But yeah, definitely. And I will say this about the game: I think the Ravens defense has been really suspect this year, and I think that's what's going to keep the Giants in the game throughout.
Well, let's look at it real quick though, because you said if they win 4 more, or you said if they get 8 or 9. Right now they're sitting at 4,
8 or 9.
So the Ravens that's a tough game. I'm going to go against them, and I'm going to say the Ravens are going to take this. But look, the Jaguars is absolutely winnable. The Seahawks is winnable. The Texans is a winnable game. The Lions winnable. Then they go against the Cowboys, who I hear what you say when you feel like they're better. I think if Cooper Rush is playing quarterback, I don't think they win that game. I think the Giants can win that game. I'm on the team where I look at Cooper Rush and I feel like he's just a game manager and he's not losing games for them. But I think Dak is the better quarterback, and I don't understand why the debate is there anyway. I get it; they won some games in a row. It wasn't because Cooper Rush won the games; he just didn't lose them. But going past the Cowboys, then you got Washington again. They're gonna beat them, I think. The Eagles, that could be an L, but then you got Washington again. The Vikings on Christmas Eve, that's a tough one. The Colts, depending on, what we've seen out the Colts this year, you don't think the Giants could beat the Colts?
Oh yeah, they could. Yeah,
then again the Eagles. So just looking at that, I see an easy, not easy, but I see a real possibility of another 6 or 7 there. Out of, I don't know, man. Out of 12 games, I could see 7.
Yeah, it's possible. I just, like I said, I think that's why I said I think they can win 9 games. Like winning 9 and 8, especially considering I think a lot of people thought they would just be the worst team in that division. A lot of people thought they would be what a Washington team is. Like Washington is just kind of down the dumps. They talking, people are talking about quarterback change and all that, but man, the Giants have just been super impressive so far. And like I say, just Daboll is just instantly ignited just a jolt of energy within that franchise.
I love Dabes, man. I love Dabes.
I know, dog. Yeah,
let's flip it. Let's flip it real quick though, and talk about the Ravens for a second. But I'm sorry, Sturge, you wanted to say something about Dabes?
Nah, man. I love to see him shine, man. I just think it's so dope. My only thing is, and I understand it from a coach and player perspective, but just as a fan, like, man, you really have a great opportunity to get your quarterback of the future, and it's like they're winning all these games. And it's like, man, if they could have just sucked this year, got their guy moved on. I just don't think Daniel Jones is the future. I think Daniel Jones is as good as he's going to be with Brian Daboll right now. I don't see him getting any better. I just hope that he can get the quarterback that he needs for the future so they can continue to build.
Yeah, you know what they could do? They could do what the Chiefs have done and some other teams. Like they've traded up to get quarterbacks. That's what the Chiefs did to get Patrick Mahomes. They had Alex Smith, who was kind of like a, they were making the playoffs, but obviously, you get somebody like Mahomes, you like next world, like your Super Bowl contender. So
at 10,
what I think teams can do is surround your team with as much talent as possible, insert the quarterback in there, and then have him start winning that way instead of the other way around. Where I think people want the quarterback to be the savior of your franchise.
Yeah, and I agree with that completely. I've been telling Giants fans going into the season and even still now, Brian Daboll, I feel like he's actually one of those coaches. I'm not going to put him on GOAT level by any means. I love him. But the thing is, the guy, he's good at getting maximum efficiency out of his players for what they're good at. Like he figured out, oh, no, this was what Saquon should have been doing this whole time. And guess what? Now he's back doing the stuff that he's supposed to be doing. Yeah. He's not putting Daniel Jones in a situation to try to win games for him. He's putting him in a situation to be efficient, to make some some good throws. Like he's made a couple throws that had me like, oh, okay, Daniels, he got something for us. But at the same time, he's not taking too many. To me, it doesn't look like he's taking too many chances. He's making good throws, good decisions, and because of that, the team looks like, you know, like you said, they're motivated. And I don't know, man. I just think that when it comes to that division, I don't think the Eagles are who we think they are. No. And that's just me. I saw them in person last Sunday and they completely dominated until, like, obviously it was, to me, that game was closer than it should have been against the Cardinals, you know, but I don't know. I just don't think the Eagles are who everybody thinks they are because of the record, the 5-0 record. But let's flip it and talk about the Ravens for a second. I think Lamar Jackson, man, he's going to get his bag, but I feel like the way the team is performing this year, they're going to try to use that against them. Like, it's been some tough games. It's been some games that they've, you know, had big leads and then teams have come back and won, us being one of them, Miami being another. It just hasn't looked the best in that regards for him. But I can't put that on Lamar, man. Like,
he doesn't play defense.
Right. Yeah. So it's like, but then other people will say, yeah, but you're not scoring in the second half. Like, we shut him out in the second half. He has to score. He has to. Yeah. If you're that guy and you're looking now, you're talking about. I even hate to say it this way. You're looking for Deshaun Watson money, where it's fully guaranteed, $250 million or whatever it is that he's looking for. You got to win the game.
Throws.
Yeah, you got to win the game. You can't be, you know, like, well, I was up 17-20 nothing or 20-3, and no, you got to keep it going in the second half. Like, that second half comes, okay, you in the halftime at 20. I need another 15 or 17 points out of you in the second half. I just don't know.
Yeah, I think. I mean, even if you look at the Bengals game, I think he missed some throws there too that would have, you know, put them up a lot more than what they were. I mean, obviously, you know, still winning the game, but yeah, I mean, he's probably going to get franchised. I think we all know that franchise tag, and just because I don't know if the Ravens necessarily want to commit that. Not even necessarily having to do with wins and losses. I think, you know, injuries might play a role, the style of play, and you know, they may decide, you know, we don't want to necessarily commit, you know, $300 million to a guy that, you know, has that type of style, kind of like a Michael Vick type of thing. But yeah, I mean, man, it's all world. Like, he deserves the money. I think he's not the reason they're losing games. Like I said, their defenses and really just all the injuries that they've had. So it's not he's not the reason. Like, he's really, without him, they're probably about where the Steelers are.
Yeah, no, you're right. Absolutely. Yeah. He had two throws, one on the right sideline where he obviously overthrew Duvernay, and then he had one in the end zone. You know, those are two throws that I noticed that he would love to have back. But at the same time, it's like, okay, he missed those two throws, but that last drive that they had to put themselves in position to ice the game out, you know, he has some pretty big time runs to get them in the position that they, you know, to win that game. And so, you know, it's hard for me to judge him off of that Bengals game just because it's a divisional game. They know each other so well from a schematic and personnel standpoint. But you're right. You guys hit the nail on the head. You know, he has to come through in those marquee moments, almost like those Heisman moments that we see in college football all the time. You know, he got to start coming through on those if he wants that guaranteed contract. You know, I would hate for them. I think it's almost disrespectful for them to franchise tag him because you drafted him knowing what his skill set is, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not like he hasn't produced. Now, I know, you know, they probably want a little bit more and so forth, but, you know, I just think there's a happy medium to be found in all that.
Let's talk about the another division that I feel like, you know, to me has been very surprising this year. We have a matchup for the Jaguars and the Colts, and that division to me is just all out of whack. I thought the Colts would be like dominating. The Jaguars came out this year and they looked like the best team in the division, and then they lose to the Texans. I don't know what the hell is happening. So that game is I think should be fun. I'm expecting Jonathan Taylor to be like, okay, I'm back. I had some bad games. I had an injury. Okay, I'm back. What are we expecting from this game?
I guess I'll go ahead. I'm about to say, I think their offense, their problem, not even just say Taylor per se. I think their offensive line is just terrible. Like, it's been really bad, and it used to be the strength of the team, and all of a sudden, I mean, Matt Ryan can't get protected. I mean, you can't even, you know, the running backs are having trouble, no matter if it's Hines or Taylor or whoever's back there, and I think that's a big issue for me. So, I mean, you're playing a Jacksonville team that defense is looking, you know, much improved there. Devin Lloyd, I think, is, you know, arguably the best defensive rookie right now in NFL, at least, you know, him and Sauce Gardner, and, you know, Stingley's up there too as well. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a challenge. I really do. I mean, you would expect Jonathan Taylor, if he's going to turn it on, this will be the game to do it. Because if not, then I don't know. Like, I just really don't know about the Colts this year, to be completely honest. And it seems like, maybe the Titans do pull away and end up getting this division.
It's just wild to me, man. And I agree with you about Taylor. I don't think it's him. I think he's good still. Like you don't lose all of that we've seen. You don't lose it over one summer. That line is trash, man. But you know what it reminds me of? A couple years back, it was like the Dallas Cowboys line was the strength. And it was like everybody was talking about how they had four number one overall,
Pro Bowlers,
Pro Bowlers and first rounders and all this stuff. And now it's like, that's not the strength anymore. And now I just feel like the same thing happened with the Colts. And that's crazy. Sterling, what do you think about the Jaguars though, man? Like I said, they started off and it looked like they might be the best team in Florida at the time, like in the early part of the season. And then now, like I said, you come out and they did.
Come on, man. You
tell me they didn't.
Come on.
Tell me they didn't. The first few weeks, the best team in Florida.
They weren't better than the Dolphins, though. Or Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay. They were better than Tampa Bay.
Come on, man. They were better than Tampa Bay the first few weeks of the season. Are you kidding me?
They were not.
But Tampa had no receivers.
They were better at the time. I'm not saying overall 1-53 that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers aren't a better team when you look at them on paper and football. I'm talking about performance-wise, what we've seen, the Jaguars over the first 4 or 5, not last week, so the first 4 weeks of the season, they were better than Tampa. And I don't care what you say about Miami. After Tua went out, what happened? They ain't been winning. It ain't the same team. They got blew out by your garbage Jets, man. Like, what's happening?
That's not my team. First of all, it's not my team. Second of all,
you're not gonna claim him? You can't be over here and not claim him.
First of all,
I covered the team. First of all, second of all, I told you they were gonna beat the Dolphins. I sat here and told you.
You did, and I ain't believe you. I didn't believe you.
My man said I ain't date her. I mean, I ain't with her.
Like, hey, they're not paying. They're not on my paycheck, so I'm not claiming them.
Oh man, that's hilarious, dog. That's hilarious.
All right, man. But for real though, Miami, I liked the team and I liked what they put together. I think Tua, obviously he's not going to be playing tomorrow, but they said there's a chance that he's going to be playing next week now, like from what I'm hearing, that he's going to be back at practice next week and he's probably going to be playing next week. But still, I don't think once you, especially in a division like this where you have the Bills, I don't think that we're not talking about Miami. We'll get to Miami in a minute. No, let's finish this. Okay. My bad. See how I get sidetracked and start talking crap. But no, the Jaguars, I do think for those first 4 weeks of the season, they look like the best team in Florida. They did. Tom Brady, with all those injuries to his wide receiver. Come on, man. You can shake your head. I'm telling you, go back and look at the first 4 weeks. Christian Kirk looked like a real number one wide receiver.
They look good, but I'm not taking it that far, man. They look good. I thought they were gonna win the division or whatever, but best team in Florida, nah, I can't put that.
First 4 weeks, they was the best. What you think, Charles? What you think about that?
Man, I've been a big fan of what the Jaguars been able to do. It's like they're still a young football team too, and they got to learn how to close out games, learn how to win. But one of the things that like people aren't talking about with the Jaguars is what their ability to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. Like they are that's the strength of their team right now. That defensive line is nasty. They got a really good defensive. They got some really good pieces on that side of the ball. Offensively, Trevor Lawrence is into another year and he's had his ups and downs, but he's looked pretty good, man. I think they're gonna if I had to pick today, I would pick the Jaguars to win the AFC South for sure. And I do believe that, if you were to put the Jaguars versus, the Bucks week 1, the Jaguars would have beat them in my opinion.
I mean, I think so. But Twan is sitting here telling me that,
No. I just said they wasn't the best team in Florida. No, I like what Jacksonville has done. Like, I think they're, Doug Peterson's come in and we talked about energy with Brian Daboll. I think the same thing with Jacksonville. It's just, I'm not going to go that far. Trevor Lawrence is definitely playing, much better. If you're PFF person, apparently he's the second highest quarterback, rated out of the 2021 class right now. So, it's testament to, what he's done right now.
All right. Well, let's keep it moving. There's another game that I want to talk about. This one I want to talk about for a couple of reasons. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, obviously, the Buffalo Bills did what we did with the Steelers. That's done. We don't have to really talk about it. But this week is a big game, I think, for both teams. I think the Steelers need a win. And I think Tom Brady needs to come out and kind of get back on track with his receivers and that offense. But one of the things that came up today, well, first let's talk about that. Then I'll bring up the other thing. So let's talk about that. How do you see this matchup going? Let's start with Twan on this one.
Not good for the Steelers. I mean, look, I saw the Steelers a couple of weeks ago. They have, you talked about offensive line problems with the Colts. Their offensive line might be even worse, to be completely honest. So no matter if you had Kenny Pickett back there, Mitch Trubisky, whoever, they have a hard time not only just running the ball, but also, protecting the quarterback. And anytime you have that, especially, Todd Bowles' defense, how well they've been playing for the most part outside of the Chiefs game, I think they're going to struggle. I think they're going to have a tough time trying to protect Kenny Pickett out there. So I like Tampa Bay, at least by double digits in this one.
Ooh, double digits. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm with you though, because of the offense. I just think, I think Kenny Pickett he's going to be good. I just think, again, starting your first game against the Bills and Josh Allen and that defense, and then the next game you're going up against Tom Brady, that offense and that defense. I just don't think it's a formula to like give this man all the. I don't even know. Like, I just don't think he's going to be too confident going forward. Like, it's just a tough couple weeks to start. Sterling, this is what I want to talk to you about though. Like, because your takes on stuff like this really, first they're funny to me, but also I enjoy hearing your take. So I'm gonna play this clip real quick. I want your take, and then the same thing with Antoine afterwards. But I'm looking forward to hearing Sterling's take on this.
You and Mike Tomlin are two of the few black head coaches in the league. I wonder what your relationship is like with them, and your thoughts on Steve Wilks joining that fold.
I have a very good relationship with Tomlin. We don't look at what color we are when we coach against each other. We just know each other. I have a lot of very good white friends that coach in this league as well, and I don't think it's a big deal as far as us coaching against each other. I think it's normal. Wilks got an opportunity to do a good job. Hopefully he does it. And we coach ball. We don't look at color.
But you also understand that representation matters too, right? And that when young aspiring coaches or even football players, they see you guys, they see someone that looks like them, maybe grew up like them, that has to mean something.
Well, when you say you see you guys and look like them and grow up like them, means that we're oddballs to begin with. And I think the minute you guys stop making a big deal about it, everybody else will as well.
Did I just watch that?
You just watched that. That's the head coach. That is the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, Sterling, please elaborate.
Okay, so I mean, he just pulled the All Lives Matter. He just, I mean, color doesn't matter. I think that's disrespectful, to be honest. Because for the things that Black African American pioneers in the sport have done, so that he could be where he is today, I think it's a little disrespectful. It's funny too, because he's talking about you guys and them, but it's like, man, you got to read the room. If you don't think that race and equity and likeness is when your locker room is 95% Black, like you don't see like what? Like it just doesn't make sense to me why he's so like staunch on that. I mean, it's to me that's trash. I it's big time, Cap. I don't like it. I don't like it.
It's embarrassing. Like I think I get what he was trying to say that hopefully one day it does not matter, and I hope we all get to a point where some of this stuff does not matter, but it does matter. It does matter that you're a head coach of an NFL team and you're a Black man. It matters. It matters right now in this day and age. You're looked at as a role model, whether you like it or not. People want to. It's a guy in coaching high school right now, like an assistant. He aspires to be Todd Bowles, and he's a Black man. He probably believes he can do it because Todd Bowles is the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This matters. This stuff matters. You may not like it. You may not identify. You might not even want to be Black. According to what he just said. But the fact of the matter is, like, you are Black. You have to understand your role in society and understand that it's bigger than you. It's bigger than you. Like, seriously. Like, and it's so important to have that representation. So not only just for this generation, but the next one, so they feel like they can also be head coaches in this league. So it does not continue to be a problem. So we have more black coaches out there in the NFL and the NBA and Major League Baseball and NHL. If you want to have an NHL, we just had an NHL general manager, for the first time. So black general manager. So all this stuff matters just to be able to have that type of representation. So it's really a crock. Like, I mean, that's really probably the nicest way I know how to say it. But I just feel bad for people that, feel the way that he does, because you should be proud of who you are and where you come from. And you don't have to apologize to anybody for that.
Mm-hmm. He just came out and said, "I'm OJ." That's what he came out and said.
Yeah, basically, yes.
I'm not black. I'm OJ. That's it. 100%. And we don't have to dwell on this. I just wanted to hear both of your opinions on that, because I'll tell you straight out. I love Todd Bowles, but that completely disappointed me, and it made me lose a little bit of respect when it comes to the things that we're talking about here. Like, there's reasons why I look up to a black man as a head coach in the NFL. There's only 4 of them. Now, Mike Tomlin, I think, is different level. I look at Mike Tomlin as a top 5 coach because he's just a top 5 coach. Like, the dude is amazing. Yeah. But regardless of how good or bad of a coach you are, to make it to this level as a head coach, like, you are you're the main guy for a football organization. Like, you're the main leader, and that's how you brush it off. Is kind of disappointing. But
I would like to see what Mike Tomlin would have to say in regards to that, because I can tell you, like, this covering, a guy like Robert Saleh, who is Muslim and things like that, he takes pride in that. He takes pride in just, that's being where he's from and how he grew up and how he got to this point. So I like you said, I think that's very just disappointing on a lot of different levels, just hearing that.
Well, let's switch over to him real quick. Let's talk about that game, because the Jets are traveling to Green Bay, and they're going up against the guy that I always felt like was the greatest quarterback I've ever seen throw the football in Aaron Rodgers. But this season, he has not looked like Aaron Rodgers. Talk to me a little bit about what you expect.
I think for me, like, first of all, Aaron Rodgers is battling a thumb injury this week. I know he practiced on Thursday, so it seems like he's going to be good to go for that. But I think the bigger issue is really a couple of things. One, just him gaining chemistry with his wide receivers. No Devontae Adams, no Valdez-Scantling. I think that's really hurt him this year. Now you have this group of receivers that, on the fly, he's trying to get to know and get that chemistry down, and it just does not happen, the way that he has. I mean, he's not playing poorly. He's not playing badly, but the offense just isn't clicking the way that I think a lot of people are accustomed to seeing. And so now they have to rely on the running game with, A.J. Dillon and also Aaron Jones too, which is fine. But I think at some point, especially later on in the season, you're going to have to start throwing the football. And we already seen some of the struggles that they've had, especially when they get down in games. You saw it against the Giants, last week. You also saw it early on against the Vikings. When you get behind, you got to start throwing the ball. And, it's going to be tough. Like, I imagine I'm going to pick the Packers to win this because – the Jets are still a young team. They still have peaks and valleys throughout. But I wouldn't be surprised if this would be a pretty close game, just simply because the Packers' offense has really struggled to throw the ball. And the Jets also have some pretty good corners in DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner, who've been tremendous this year. It could make his job a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. What you think, Sterling? Because I think I'm going to surprise y'all with my pick.
Yeah, I think the Jets can win this game. Just for the simple fact that Zach Wilson's playing, like, he's playing decent, playing good, and they got a run game to supplement that. The Packers, everything is dink and dunk. They have no threat to go down the field. So I think when you have that such limitation, it's gonna cause some advantages for the Jets on defense, right? But I do like what the Jets been able to do on offense has been really nice to see. You guys put up a 40 burger on the Dolphins now, albeit they had a third-string quarterback in, but it's still 40 points. I don't care how you slice it. You got Breece Hall and those guys playing better football, man. So, Garrett Wilson is another guy. So I think the Jets are definitely – I think they can win this game. But if I were to bet money, I would definitely pick the Jets on the spread.
Yeah, I was going to say, Teddy Bridgewater did start the game, but they knocked him out on the first offensive possession. Right. So,
yeah, I'm going Jets for basically all the reasons that you named. But I think, when it comes down to it, Aaron Rodgers absolutely regrets this divorce from Devontae Adams. And I don't care what anybody says. Devontae Adams regrets it, and Aaron Rodgers regrets it more. There's just no chemistry with any of the receivers. Randall Cobb is
Randall
I don't
Cobb.
want to. Right, you know what I mean? And it's
He's
like
past his prime carrying Cobb too.
And I keep saying, and I understand how he looked down there in Tampa. I still feel like Cole Beasley would have thrived in this offense. I'm going with the Jets, period. Like, I just feel like the offense of the Packers is not the same that it used to be. Aaron Rodgers is not Aaron. He's Aaron Rodgers, but the hand injury you mentioned, I just don't see it happening. So
I'm about to say, if the Jets win this game, I might need to start reevaluating my January plans. Because, like, I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs, but I think people are going to start thinking like they have a chance to be one of, like we talked about last week, be one of those 3 wild cards teams. Like, they're
gonna take those couple L's to the Bills. They're gonna take another L to the Patriots. So I mean, they ain't gonna make the playoffs.
I think they might beat the. I told you, like, I think they're gonna beat the Patriots at least one time. At least once.
I don't. I think, and we can talk about that real quick because the Patriots, they play the Browns. I think the Patriots. Well, Bailey, I don't know. I don't know. I think the Browns have surprisingly been more impressive without Deshaun Watson than I thought they would be. Like, they've actually played a pretty, like you would almost think with Deshaun Watson kind of in the flow of things, they might be undefeated right now. Like, with the way they lost certain games, you look at it, it's like, damn, like now they're going to come back and this creep is going to actually be in a good situation and the team is going to be good. I just hate it, man. I hate everything good coming to this organization because of this whole situation.
Yeah, I'll say this real quick too, like, just to kind of, since we'll go to the Browns Patriots, I think what I'll say is this: like, the Jets are the toughest, like, outside of the Bills anyway, the toughest opponent the Jets will face the rest of the season. If you look at their the win-loss right now, like, that's it. I mean, they've got the Vikings later on, but that's really about it. I mean, they got the Bears, the Seahawks, the Jaguars. I mean, they have a lot of games where they could sit there and win. So I think 9 wins isn't out the question. I don't know if that's going to be enough to get you to the playoffs, but it's certainly not out the realm of possibility, especially if they were to win this game. They win this game, then you're like, yeah, they're definitely, I think they're going to finish over 500 at least.
Shout out to the Jets fans, man. Y'all got something to be excited about. I got my my homegirl back at home in Buffalo, Brandy. She's we've been friends since like 5th grade at City Honors, and all she does is talk about the Jets. She got something to cheer for this year. Shout out to Brandy.
Division is much better now. I mean, you got the Bills, the top dog still. Like, no change in that. But I think the rest of the teams, the Patriots, I think they still might win 7 or 8 games, maybe. The Dolphins, will see what they can do once Tua gets back. And then the Jets are definitely, at least on paper, at least so far, have improved. They already have 3 wins. They had 4 all of last year. So,
yeah.
I'm shocked that we saw Mac Jones practice this week. He practiced a couple times, and he still looked obviously a little ginger on that foot. But I'm just completely shocked that he was even healthy enough to practice. Strohs, what do you think about this Patriots-Browns game? And then after this we'll switch over to the Bills game, and then maybe talk about that Monday night game. No, we'll talk about the Sunday night game, not the Monday night, Sunday night.
Amari Cooper. Hey, Amari Cooper's been balling with Jacoby Brissett, man. I think there's an issue when it comes to Hunt versus what's their running back's name? I'm thinking of Browns running back Nick Chubb. Yeah. Oh, they're trying to feature Hunt a little more than they need to. Like, I mean, he's playing okay, but I mean, Nick Chubb is just killing. And I don't know if it's maybe because they're trying to preserve him for later in the season, but man, if he's got the high hand, just keep feeding him, and he's unstoppable. But Amari Cooper's been having a really good year so far, man. I got him on my fantasy team. That dude don't disappoint. But Bailey Zappi is another, before the draft, I felt like he was probably one of the most pro-ready quarterbacks coming out, just for the system that he's in and certain skill set. So I was actually surprised that the Patriots got him. So I'm not surprised by his play right now. The fact that they are talking about a quarterback controversy in New England is what's funny to me. This defense that they have is still pretty good. But outside of that, I mean, Ramondre Stevenson don't scare nobody. Jacoby Myers don't scare nobody. They really don't have any weapons on offense. And when you look at like the flow of their play calling and stuff like that, it just doesn't look very in sync. So I think teams are going to continue to figure out the Patriots. But like you guys said, I only see them winning 7 or 8 games this year.
Yeah, that's kind of my point too. I mean, they don't have anything that's great. They have no skill position play. Their defense is good. The defense is still, their defense is going to be solid on the Belichick, but they ain't scaring nobody what they
Right.
got offensively, like not at all.
I low-key can't wait to play them. Like I'm like,
Oh.
what week is the Patriots? You know what I mean? Like I'm looking at this. What week are they cut? Like let's do this. And before it used to be one of those things where it's like we would look forward to it, but it was a different feeling. It was like, man, okay, it's a big week. Now it's just like, all right, man, come on in, come get this ass whooping and go head back home.
It's like a homecoming game.
Yeah, that's how I feel for it. So, you know, it's like I expect it to be like the Steelers. They got a little bit better of a defense. I think, like you said, Belichick is always going to have defense ready to play. But
yeah,
I'm not worried about. Now with Mac Jones, I think Mac is better than people give him credit for. Though I really do. Yes. I think Mac is a really good quarterback, and he puts the ball. I've seen some throws from him this season that's just like, wow, I didn't know he could make those throws. So, you know, we'll see when he gets back healthy. We'll see what's up. Let's touch on the Bills Chiefs real quick. We don't have to go. We've been covering it all week, so we don't have to talk too long about it. But just Antoine, me and Sterling have already talked about this. So let's get your take on how you feel like this game is going to go, and who you expect to come on top.
I mean, really, just can you be able to, you know, control Patrick Mahomes and all the improvising that he does and force some turnovers too? Because, you know, as good as he is, and, you know, I think he's the best quarterback in football, but he does make mistakes. He's going to put the ball in a position where, you know, defenders are going to have opportunities to get turnovers. So, yeah, I think that's basically what it boils down to. If you're the Bills, can you take advantage of some of those mistakes there? You know, the Raiders didn't take enough advantage of some of those mistakes, and they had an opportunity to win that game, but they just didn't make the plays down the stretch too. I feel like if, you know, a team like Buffalo would have made those same plays in Arrowhead too. So yeah, I mean, for the Bills, I definitely think, you know, establishing the run, you know, taking some pressure off Josh Allen's, feeling like he doesn't have to be like Superman and do too much there too as well. So I think those are probably the two keys for me. I'm gonna go Kansas City on this, just because I think everybody is expecting Buffalo to win. So I just have this, you know, weird feeling that I think the Chiefs they were ready. Like they took the Raiders kind of a little bit lightly, you know, and I feel like they're going to be really having this game circle simply because everybody's anointing the Bills as the AFC favorite right now. And I feel like they're probably going to take that a little personally. So I expect it to be a great game either way.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a better game than what people expect in Buffalo, at least. But I think the difference this year, I think I underestimated how big of a piece Tyreek Hill was on that offense.
Oh yeah.
And when you watch the Chiefs all year, yeah, they've been winning. You know, they're 4-1 too, just like the Bills. I just don't feel like they're as explosive offensively. And the Bills, they still can hit you whenever they want to hit you. They can go methodically down the field, or they can hit you. I don't think the Chiefs have that same firepower anymore. And then on the flip, I think our defense is just like, if you look at their defense, they've been giving up points, especially in the 20s. Like when you're in the red zone, they've been giving up points. They're playing with two rookie cornerbacks that just haven't been strong. I don't know, man. Like, I'm not even saying this as a Bills fan. Like, honest to God, taking a step back, I know who Patrick Mahomes is. I know who Travis Kelce is. But our defense got healthy too. We got all our guys back, with the exception of maybe, well, on offense, Jake Kumerow's not going to play, or, you know, so we got a couple guys not playing, but yo, we back, man. And I just feel like I don't know, Strohs, what you think? And then we can move on to that Sunday night game.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, I'm just worrying about my boy Twan down there sounding like a true Jets fan, talking about the Chiefs gonna beat the Bills and all this stuff. You know, being
hold on. First of all, if like personally, I would like the Bills. I would like nothing more if the Bills were to beat the Chiefs. Personally, so like I grew up a Raider fan, so like let's just get that taken care of. I'm saying this as a neutral observer, and this is my own public opinion. Just you know, I just think the Chiefs are going to win. Now, like, obviously it wouldn't surprise me. I think the Bills are the best team in the AFC. They're my Super Bowl pick. I've said this like multiple times. I think they're the best team.
See, I just don't understand though, because the other day I tweeted out that I was ready, and you was like, "Y'all got this." And now on the show, you coming on here changing your tune, and you know I got to call you out on it because I wish I had the tweet ready. I didn't know you was gonna say that.
I mean, can I change my mind? Like,
no, you can't. Not on the Bills, you can't.
I noted. Yeah, I'll know this for the next time.
All right, well, let's talk about this last game before we get up out of here, man. I think the Sunday night football game is going to be one that everybody is looking forward to seeing, because right now they're the same way you're talking about how the world is anointing the Bills. I think everybody's now anointing the Eagles because they're 5-0. I just don't think that 5-0. we'll talk about it. The Eagles and the Cowboys, Sunday Night Football. This is a game that Cowboys fans every year look forward to. Eagles fans every year look forward to. It's going to be a fun one. How do we feel like this one is going to go? Let's start with Sterles on this. Because Twan, I think, is capping all night. So let's start with Sterles.
You know, I think
Wow.
Listen, man, I think the Eagles are going to lose their first game this week. You know, I think Dallas has the defense and the athletes to match up, right, with them very well. You know, Jalen Hurts is going to have to throw the ball. He's going to have to be an efficient passer, not just a runner in this game. And I think they're going to be able to take the running game away. Right now, I believe, you know, the Eagles are allowing 17 points a game. You know, I don't think that the Cowboys are going to be anything from you know, they're not going to score a bunch of points, but I think if they can rely on the running game and pass when they have to, I think they're, you know, just like they've been doing, I think they're going to win this game. And then, you know, you got the Eagles. Like, I want to see, this is the first game where I can say that, like, Jalen Hurts will be tested, because you're not going to be able to run like that every single week and have that back you up. You're going to have to be able to win games efficiently with his arm. Now, I know he's I'm not saying he's a bad passer, but when you have a running game that's supplementing and making things easier from a schematic standpoint in the pass, I think, you know, the Cowboys are going to be able to take that away, I feel like. And so he's going to have to win from the pocket. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. But I think the Cowboys pull away in this one.
I'm with you. How you feel, Antoine?
Michael Parsons, the difference to me, man. Like,
yep.
Can they contain him? I don't think so. Like, I mean, I think the Cowboys can do enough running the football with, you know, Pollard and also Ezekiel Elliott too, to take pressure off of Cooper Rush. And, you know, I think Cooper can make enough plays. And this might be like a 2017 game there. You just don't need Cooper to throw the ball, chuck it all down the field, because the Eagles do have really good cornerbacks too as well that can, you know, get some turnovers there. So that's why I think if running the ball is going to be very important in a game like this. So I like Dallas too. Like, I think I said they were going to win the division before the year started. I know a lot of people picked the Eagles because of the talent that they accumulated, but, you know, I just like where Dallas is right now. And I feel like, you know, a guy like Michael Parsons just going to, you know, eat against Jalen Hurts, especially. I don't think they have an answer for him. I don't think nobody has an answer for him, but I think in a game like this, he's really the X factor.
Yeah, no, I got to see him last week against the Cardinals, and I tell you what, in person, he's as advertised. He's good. He's going to be great. I think he's going to be great in this league. But the same way I talk about Lamar Jackson, about how great I think he is, when he figures out how to really be in the pocket and beat you from the pocket, I think that's what separates guys, and that's what makes guys great. Josh Allen can run when he wants to, when he needs to, great. But guess what? Y'all let that dude stand back there with some protection. He gonna eat y'all apart. Patrick Mahomes is gonna eat y'all. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be a ridiculous thing if you give certain guys time like that. I just don't see Jalen Hurts being that guy right now. He's gonna be. The team around him is an all-star or a Pro Bowl cast or whatever. But I don't know, man. So we're all going Cowboys here?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Well, I'm going to go Cowboys here. We all going Cowboys. Great show. I appreciate y'all taking the time to do this with me every week, man.
Oh, yeah. It's fun.
No doubt.
I mean, we just got to get my boy Twan on the Bills train. You know, he's over here with this Jet stuff. I mean, you know.
You're a hater, man.
If you say something early in the week, you can't change it later, bro.
Okay, all right.
He getting that Jersey cooking too much.
Well, if you're talking about Jersey cooking, then yeah, my cooking is like, that's all the cooking I'm dealing with. I don't know if that's Jersey cooking, but
well, look, let's go ahead and get on out of here. Twan, why don't you, like we always do, let everybody know where they can find your content. If you got any articles for tomorrow or anything that you want us to read, go ahead and throw it out there for us.
You find me at Antoine Staley. Also find my work at the New York Daily News. They're the best way to, you know, get in touch with me and read my work.
All right, Sterles for the girls, what it is, man.
Yeah, you can find me here at Buffalo Rumblings Grounding on Sunday morning, man.
Yeah, I know how we do it. I love each other. Take care of each other. And as always, positive, less negative. Go Bills. I know Twan ain't gonna say go Bills, so go Bills.
Go Bills.
You know we gon' stop.